How we doing? Aye. Let's make sure that guy's all up on there. We've got, what is it? January 13th? I want to say 13th, something like that. But welcome. See some familiar faces coming in. We got, as always, TikTok on the left, YouTube over here. And I will always repost the lives that we go. I even got a backup mic if we go a little bit long today. And should be pretty fun. We got bunch of water in our electrolytes here, so I won't have to pee midway through, which that's very nice. And I actually got my table delivered today, which was super cool. She's a beauty. Um, Super easy to set up. Actually, I probably gonna order a what's it called? A different padding for it, so that when I have people that are super tall, they can fit on the table. So, oh my goodness, the Lotus, I remember you. Welcome back. Couple people popping into YouTube now. How we doing? We got the wonderful trees in the back, which you guys loved last time. I switched up the background on you. So if you weren't ready for it, got some trees in the back. So if you're on YouTube, let me know. Audio check, mic check, whatever. I know sometimes this guy, I've got a second little mini one mounted on TikTok mic. So, but we got our first question. So, what do you think of peptides for brain fog and lifting spirits? And then, hello, buddy. Hello to you too. I don't use any peptides. Ozempic is a peptide. So, there's definitely not enough research out there right now as to what the long term effects are there or, negative effects. So, in terms of lifting mood, sunlight, cold plunge, St. John's wort, avoiding doom scrolling, all things that are going to obviously take away from dopamine you want to avoid, and then the things that are going to replenish it, you want to be doing those things. So it's simple enough, and it's really repairing the GI. That's where all those neurotransmitters are from. So rather than play the guessing game with a magic or one cure all thing, which does not exist, we should be aiming to fix the problem for the long haul. So I like the idea of GI testing. I like the idea of starting with a little bit of St. John's and maybe Mucuna seed and working on fixing the train. There we go, man. I like the language. But yeah, I like Mucuna seed in there because you're going to have the highest amount of L-DOPA, which is the precursor to dopamine. So if motivation is really a problem, irritation, can't focus on anything, then we are probably deprived in dopamine. And if you're holding the phone most of the day, which is basically everybody, including myself, I'm not immune to this stuff either. So uh, I'll always be honest with you guys, but doing some cool stuff. I actually ordered a sauna and a cold plunge. That's what actually made me think of that because you'll get the most response in terms of neurochemistry. You will get the quickest response from and long term response for something like a cold plunge. Obviously, chiropractic adjusting, exercise, super dominant. Like you have a floor. Everybody can do push ups, jumping jacks, sit ups, get a mini trampoline and just bounce on that thing. Actually, across the room here, I have two 5 pound weights and something called box balling. It's $30 and it's basically a human cat toy to where it's like a red punching ball attached to like a super bouncy string, and you can just basically box the box balling, right? But that'll keep your mood elevated here, and lack of sunlight is a huge reason for this too. So that seasonal element is where St. John's dominates. But alligator, no, that is not. I mean, I've heard it tastes like chicken, right? You hear that, but do I want to try alligator meat? No, I don't. Um, Maybe I'll try a piece, but you're selling it in bulk, so I'll try a sample. I won't deny a sample. So I take it back. Ugh, man, these spam callers keep trying to contact me. Drives me freaking nuts. Drives me nuts. All right. Welcome, welcome, though. Let's see. What other updates do we have? Table came in today. I will probably have to spend somewhere around $10,000 to install two sinks. So that's fun. Tried to find my way around it. I looked through the plumbing subcode for my town. I reached out to what's it called? Sorry, I'm getting like 10,000 phone calls right now. Thank you, Ruben. I reached out to the town. I reached out to the plumbing subcode official. I reached out to the landlord. I reached out to architects. Basically, any and everybody that can help. Um, sorry if TikTok, you can't see me right now. Getting multiple calls. Um, but yeah, basically getting screwed on two sinks. So that's cool. We got to put it in an X-ray room. And apparently, within the town that I'm in, Randolph, New Jersey, they do want hand sanitization, which makes total sense. Washing your hands, easiest way to control that. I gave them the idea of a plug-in sink to where, and I will get to your questions. I'm just kind of ranting for a minute. Need to get it off my chest, you know. I brought up the idea of Ozark, which is a medical grade NSF certified hot and cold water sink company that has basically these plug-in electrical sinks, and there's a clean jug and a waste jug, but apparently that doesn't meet code, so pretty annoying. um I thought it was going to work. I thought I was like being super genius, bumpy brain, white matter just firing away within my prefrontal cortex there. But no, amygdala activation, anger, rage. Have to spend 10 grand on two sinks, two tiny little sinks to wash my freaking phalanges after doing adjustments, which, hey, what are you going to do? You got to do it, right? There's only one way out of this hole, and that's up by helping people, giving away value, and let's do that. So let me get to your guys' questions because they're building up. We got a fertility question. Chris, what causes infertility in males? Um, it's going to be a combination of a couple of different things, especially stressor bound things. Mental stress not really going to affect fertility that much for a guy. You'll actually have a positive response hormonally to stressors as a male. We're very different from females. So that you don't really have to worry about as much. The mental stress, though, can make you eat a bunch of sugar. So over-consuming sugar will aromatize a ton of that testosterone down into your estrogens. Having obviously physical damage to the area, that's one thing. There can be feedback loops that were impacted, whether you took something or neurologically there's some pattern that is off with the pituitary and communication with the testes. So we would have to look into that if you're not getting results after trying a bunch of different things. But lowering your sugar, taking in organ meat capsules that are high and rich in liver and heart and testes themselves, you'll get a bunch of precursors and building blocks for those things because you'll carry in a bunch of constituents that will support the enzymes that create these hormones. And then obviously there's like more little things. The clothes you're wearing, the type of underwear that the boys are in, having underwear that's squeezing you versus underwear that's not. I'm trying to keep it PG here. Um, yeah, I mean, possibly tap water that can you can get some estrogens through there. Soy, consuming soy, and then looking for chronic inflammatory triggers. Looking at in the immune system and chronic infections that will just take away resources from the body and put stress on you externally. And a new thing that I've been looking into a lot, EMF, uh, carrying phones very close to the boys downstairs. That will impact you as well, just from microwave radiation that should not exceed around 6 in terms of meter measurements. So that will really impact you too. Div. Okay, wait. I missed some questions here. Dev, how we doing? Doing God's work. Heck yeah, man. Every day. Actually, I missed yesterday, so almost every day. But that was not on purpose. I definitely wanted to be live, but bum bum bum. And I'm MD? No, not an MD. Cairo. Everything here is holistic health. So medication questions, surgery questions, not my uh, expertise. So, all right, YouTube, cover those. Let's get to Mr. DeLotus. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Cost of the GI test. And does it tell levels of DOPA, serotonin, epinephrine? It does not. That neurotransmitter test is going to be done through ZRT labs. That's a urine test. Definitely much more fun to do compared to the stool test. But stool test, depending on if you run a 1 day or a 3 day, and if we're not getting any extended markers on there, my memory jogs. It's 375, I want to say, somewhere in that ballpark. But no, it doesn't measure neurotransmitters. That would be a different lab. What are a few things you think people in their 20s should be trying to preserve before it degrades? Your body. Your body. Very simple answer. So, I'm trying to think of how to expand on that, but your body, your purpose, your obviously financials. But if your body and your purpose are in line and you're not wasting time, then sure. I would say your body and wasting time are probably the two things you should preserve the most. Or not preserving wasting time, but you know what I mean. Bunny and Cairo with a K. I have very bad sugar cravings, and if I don't have dessert, I will get very bad headaches. What do I do? I would want you to start on two things: Oregon grape and Gymnema. Send me a message in here after. I can get all that for you, and I'll even do free shipping for people getting their first orders and stuff. But um, Gymnema, because it will help bind the sweet receptors of the tongue and prevent them from having that sugar craving. Obviously, that depends on yeast too. Gymnema has wonderful effects on yeast, and Oregon grape having the most amount of berberine in there. The only other arguable herb is berberine. Golden seal, that is the second close contestant. I just don't want people willy nilly doing golden seal because you can do a little bit too much in terms of microbial removal and then almost run into some issues with killing off some of the good guys in there. Very, very potent herb. Um, Increasing the fiber and switching the sweeteners that you're using so that you can kind of trick your brain. Birch bark xylitol, monk fruit, stevia, even things like that that can give you that sweet satisfaction because it's really a neurological response that the craving is coming from. So you can get through this. I've seen, I don't know, probably about 500 people with that same exact issue in recent memory. So you can get through it. Send me a message. I'll even do a complimentary call with you and get you going, man. Who is that? Yes, Bunny and Cairo. Bone density question mark, neuroplasticity question mark. I don't know if I missed your question. TikTok may have filtered it out. So let me look at that first. I don't know if they filtered it out though. Doo-doo-doo. Oh my goodness, I need to get my butt moving in terms of response time here. You guys are giving many, many good, great questions here. Um, Either way, what do we get over here? I am fat fingering the screens like crazy today. We covered these, doing God's work. Are you Italian or Jewish? I am Italian. Great guess. Great guess. Easy multiple choice question. There were only two choices, so I had a 50-50 shot, and I know who I am, right? I mean, look at the name, right? How could I not be Italian? If you guys need any vowels, let me know. Seriously. But I get cold easy. I get hot easy. More than my friends. I got diagnosed and I jabe benign thyroid. Yeah, I was going to mention that we could have some thyroid issues going on here too. And for Mickey, if you're headed toward perimenopausal or menopausal years, we're starting to get uh, a lack of hormone production in there too, in terms of the estrogens. And thyroid hormones and estrogens are very closely tied together. So even with the brain too, depression, things like that. You can do something like a thyroid glandular, is what ours is called, so that you can have thyroid tissue in there along with liver, because you need iron to make and create a lot of the backbone for um, thyroid hormones in the first place. I love iodine, doing a little bit of iodine. Just each breast alone will have 6 micrograms a day that they need. So if you're a female, you need at least 12 micrograms a day. And I don't think anybody's getting that unless you're eating fish every day. But nobody really, some people do that. But other than that, some selenium, and I would want to run a full thyroid panel on you. So you're getting pretty cool now. For just kind of a side tangent here, there are cool labs coming out of Access that I can now order, and they're cheaper than doing a lot of the labs. But it's basically a shoulder patch that you put on your shoulder. You press it with one button, doesn't hurt at all. It does the blood draw for you. You don't have to pay an extra $50 blood draw fee. You don't have to go anywhere. It sends you the FedEx package to ship it with and everything. So if you guys are trying to get a self draw lab that you can evaluate these things through, especially something like a thyroid panel, there is a full thyroid panel available on there. So, and pretty new to the game, these self draw shoulder patch things. Um, they're going to be customized pretty soon too. So that's going to get cool when I can customize them and run real specific things, and you won't have to even freaking leave your house. So you could do food allergy testing, stool testing, hormone testing through precision analytical. You can do the shoulder patches to do your blood draws. You can do everything at home. How cool is that? I think it's cool. But yeah, probably got a hormone problem and thyroid issue, which is probably derived through deficiencies in the immune system or immune response. Okay, Chris, I've been put on Clomid and it pushed my numbers up a little bit. No damage to the area. I've gone through so much testing. Okay, Chris, I would want to give you a little handout here and send me those labs. Just send me a DM on here because we're not at 1,000 followers just yet. Otherwise, you would have all my email and info in there. But if you're on YouTube, you can go to my channel page, click on the link. You can schedule yourself for a free call or jump to a new patient appointment. Pretty easy. And I discount them during these lives, $200, technically 99. But TikTok, I can't do that because I need 1,000 followers for some reason. We're getting there though. We're going to be there real quick. But I want to see the labs that we're in, and hopefully it's good enough info that we can go off of. If you have Hashimoto's, should you cut out dairy? Yes, and wheat, and soy. I feel less puffy and inflamed since cutting it out. That's because um, a lot of people have a delayed allergen to dairy, and that immune response getting pulled away to deal with food that should not be creating an immune response. Food should just be a normal thing entering your body, and your immune system should go like a bouncer, like, okay, let them in. These guys are good. But typically, when you eat a bunch of food over decades, you become reactive to it. Your body has trouble breaking these things down, and it creates an immune response. Very simple. And most Hashimoto's cases, being autoimmune, you're just having less work that the immune system is having to do. So you're seeing the benefit there. Help me. I'm very sick. With sulfide SIBO, oof, I've lost 150 pounds. How do you treat this? We would have to run a Genova stool test and evaluate the environment within the GI, look at breakdown and absorption, look at the immune response within there, opportunistic infections, normal, microbials in there as well, and how to rebuild the thing so that you don't have these issues in the first place. I would probably want to run foods and see what other baseline blood work you've already had run. So, Mila and Mason, great question. I'm a radiographer, but always use lead aprons. Beautiful. And Laura, this happened before I went this route. I've never heard of Alara. Mean times, distance shielding. Alara is for the patients. LOL. Okay, she resubmitted that one. Am I a model? No. We got some Jesus lovers. Catholic, not Protestant. Catholic. I always get a lot of religion questions on YouTube. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Look at this. Look at the energy in here. Whatever I did to get the current viewer algorithm on YouTube, it's awesome. Okay, I have depression. I'm having antidepressants. It doesn't help at all. Can you give me advice on any activity? Exercise, by far. Number one, most cost effective thing that you can do. Make it something that you enjoy. Also, cold therapy, cold plunging or cold showers, even. Just for dopamine's sake, you're going to get a ton of that. And again, looking into the GI because that's where all these neurotransmitters come from. So we would need to do a GI test for dyslase and things to mitigate. Probably you can't really do St. John's here. Probably California poppy and kava in the meantime as we figure those labs out. But you can schedule through the bio. I'm 22, 45 kilograms. I'm in the US. I don't know what kilograms are. I just, double that. And you're probably a little bit over double. So maybe like 120 pounds, maybe somewhere around there. And I don't have an anemia problem. I'm female. Oh, okay. This is Micah. Micah. Okay, it was the cold issue. Well, good. No anemia. That's fantastic. I would want to know ferritin though, because very rarely are they going to look at ferritin, total iron binding capacity, and iron, alone is not enough to look at. But let me see that CBC, and let's do an actual anemia panel. Okay. What's an emerging health concern you've seen in younger people that wasn't prevalent before? EMF, microwave radiation. I've seen way too many teenage girls come in that are on calcium channel blockers with heart palpitations, and as soon as I start to give them um, there's EMF bands, there's cell phone chips, all these different things, they go from like spending 8 to 10,000 on functional medicine docs to doing one thing, blocking all the EMF stuff, and then they don't have to take insurmountable amounts of potassium and magnesium and all these other things along with the calcium channel blocker. So that is probably the craziest because it's the largest hidden toxin that we know of in today's world. It creates agglutination reactions, which will bind immune cells, which are viewable on slides. There's over 10,000 studies on this. Bioinitiative.org, fantastic group. They are just a group of scientists. They have no financial incentive to be putting this research out. I think it's probably the biggest epidemic we have because who the hell is not next to a phone or Wi-Fi or any forms of lights or electricity? And any form of electricity gives off these things. Also, with all the 5G things being put in, it affects every system in your body and is a huge stressor on you, and it's invisible. So even during like doing a live stream, just for me right now, it goes over 200,000 times the normal limit just coming from these phones, each of these phones. So pretty alarming. And if you just kind of think about it, where do you hold your phone? Right about here. Where's your heart? Right here. So that is the coolest, scariest thing that I know of. And there's a way to get around it. and you can't really when you fully block EMF, your phone wouldn't work. So it's more of mitigating the calcium channel effects and the immune response effects by putting earthbound materials like a cell phone chip or certain things that you can get. But I'm basically working on getting a certification in that right now. That's a fan freaking tastic question. Excuse me. What do you do if you crave sugar? Up your fiber, resistance training, gymnema, and Oregon grape. Sugar's my enemy. I keep craving it, especially processed sugar. Yeah, it's addicting. It's designed to be addicting. Just like your phone, same thing. It's just farming dopamine at this point. Negative aura points, negative social points, um, descending instead of ascending. So I'm just kidding. Don't do that. So 2 Brazil nuts, and that was in reference to the selenium, 100%. 2 Brazil nuts per day. Depending on your size, you may need 3. Plan and get Finasteride. Anything I should know before getting on it? I'm not your guy for medication questions. Just be upfront and honest with you guys. I don't prescribe meds. Um, not my area of expertise. So, if you're really worried about it, I actually spoke to MDL Laboratories yesterday that they have a gene test for what medications your body is not good at metabolizing through. So that's probably one of the coolest labs I've seen. If you're worried about anything like that. I am tall, 6 feet. Mm, can I grow more? Probably not, depending on the age. Hello? Oh, funny name there. Trying to get me to say something really funny. Okay, 19 years old. Growth's probably over. Okay, cool. T4 is at 25. T3 and TSH are normal. Yeah, you still need free T4, free T3, total T4, T3, TSH, thyroid binding globulin, um, or thyroglobulin antibodies, thyroid peroxidase antibodies, T uptake, and reverse T3. So that is an incomplete thyroid panel, and it's probably why you still have these symptoms. What's up, Jerry the Mouse? Hi, Unk. Sending love from Mongolia. Nice. Cool. Like I said, you guys love my nose for some reason. It's fucking weird. Guy called Austin. What up? Time for you to get some cranial work done. TMJ, along with an adjustment. I would love that. I would love that. Opinion on artificial sweeteners. They're horrible. What can help neuropathy? B6. My specialists think I have it. Drop your sugar. B6. Up your fiber. Again, lean muscle mass things. Consuming more proteins. Get resistance training in there. Do some sprinting. Probably contrast therapy, maybe sauna and cold plunges, gymnema, Oregon grape, and I would want to see your labs. Tweety, what's up? How we doing? Best remedies for high blood pressure went on losartan. Well, did they find why you have high blood pressure? We need to figure that out first. It can be a combination of mental, chemical, physical stressors. I would like you to start doing something like Neo 40 because it is by far the best nitric oxide supporter you can do on the entire planet. You can get it on Amazon. Just make sure you're getting the professional grade there. Um, and then sauna as well. Sauna, fantastic for vasodilation. Obviously, exercise is going to be fantastic for you too. Don't push it. Stay within your means. Hydration and getting enough salt. You need about 5 grams of salt per day, including your food in there. But yes. Why does it hurt a lot? Hold on. This is getting filtered. Let me allow the comment in here. Why? Oh, wait a minute. These are all out of order now. Boom. High blood pressure. Cool. Flawed body. Thank you for handling that question. I have the as an athlete boxer, they say it would be dangerous. Yeah, you're just going to damage that thing again. So I wrestled for like almost 20 years. So I did something to my nose at some point. But inflammation's down, so we got good pathways there. My body gains fat too easily, especially on low diets. What's up with that? Total daily energy expenditure may not be high enough, so you make sure that you're actually reducing the amount of calories per day. When people start doing something like carnivore, they don't realize that fat has the most amount of calories out of any nutrient out there. So watch how much fat's coming in the system. That could easily be why some of the reason why you may have some trouble with insulin, and there are certain areas of the liver that can be kind of untamed gluconeogenesis, even if you're avoiding sugars and all those things. But through the month of January is our no sugar weight loss challenge. So Jerry, send me a email through my page here. There's a link. You'll get my email if you go to my page, and I will give you all the handouts, get you signed up, and it's completely free. You'll just lose a bunch of weight and get discounted on a bunch of stuff. So we are here for you, my man. Okay. Tweety, I'm doing pretty well. Son has an MRI March 6th. Very good. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. When you say no sugar January, does that mean fruit as well? The only fruits allowed, because it used to be no fruit at all, but people are finding it very hard to do, especially when they're not part of the wellness way for so long. But no, there's sugar allowed because of the amount of fiber within berries specifically. So you could do blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, and lemon and lime in your water, and avocados. Those are the only fruits allowed. Keeping the glycemic availability very low, but no honey, no maple syrup, none of that. CRP level 5.25. What would you do? I would run a stool test. You have an infection. Hi, baby. Hello. People are fucking weird. Why does the ear hurt a lot more from the inside when you are stressed and get headaches from it? It's probably improper drainage. I'd be curious what happened when you were born. That could very well be the reason, just the way the skull formed from birthing process that way. But go to Cairo. Go to somebody that can help the eustachian tube drain. Actually, I have a good mic here. I can do a little eustachian tube release there. I hope the audio was good enough for you guys. Probably like, what the heck is happening here? Neo 40, it is a supplement. I weigh 188, 74 on TikTok lives. I give you credit, man. You're up with the times here. 5'3", genetic high blood pressure. Genetic, oh my God. Were you born with high blood pressure? Because then it's not genetic. Sorry, I'm not irritated at you. I just get irritated with the gene card because I see so many people come in with genetic high blood pressure that goes away when you get inflammation down. You got to figure out why high blood pressure is there. If it's from opportunistic infections, which I see a lot. Mother had high blood pressure. Her mother had it too. Yeah, they had the same habits. So did you have it when you were a baby? Did you have it when you were a kid? What about genetic LDL? Yeah, were you born with high LDL? I mean, let's think here. You went to med school? Question mark. No, no hate, but no one besides medical doctors should have the title doctor. Well, read a book. You are a doctor of medicine or a doctor of physical therapy or a doctor of orthopedic medicine or a doctor of chiropractic. Learn, read, look at things before you come here calling people out when you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Man, come on, guys. What the frick? Let's think. Genetic LDL, genetic high blood pressure. If you didn't have it from birth, like say Down syndrome. I will totally agree. That is from birth. That is genetic. I would wonder what happened during pregnancy. Was the mother taking iodine? Was she iron deficient? Um, was she deficient in all of her B vitamins? And that led to things like that. So, you think high blood pressure is all lifestyle? Not necessarily. Lifestyle is definitely a component to it, but there's a reason why your body can't adapt to some sort of stressor that's creating a vasoconstrictive response inside the body. Simply being mentally stressed out. You could stub your toe and you'll get high blood pressure, right? You could stub your toe, you'll get high blood pressure, you'll get elevated heart rate, you'll get elevated breathing rate, your mood will change, your GI system will slow down. All these things will change. So that's just a highlighted example of smashing your toe on the coffee table, changing every single system in your body. So, the framework being, well, Lasix, Lasix, losartan, all these meds lower blood pressure. They will. Medications will, by definition, they will change chemistry of the body, and they will force a reaction to happen. Can you do magnesium, B vitamins, fish oils, and get blood pressure to come down? Maybe. Is that the reason why it's high? I don't know. Is it sympathetic activation? Is it from a deficiency? Is there a subclinical infection going on? That's kind of the framework here. We're looking to restore health and optimize thereafter. So, and I'm just here to challenge the thinking. And when I kind of talk, I'm not being mean to you guys. I'm mean to the thought process and sort of a brainwashing, um, which I'm hoping to pull you guys out of. That's why we do these lives. So the attacks are not to you toward you guys. I want to be very clear. So we'll pep it back up here. Holmes. All great questions though. Fantastic questions. I just want to get us thinking here. And sometimes it hurts to hear this stuff, right? Um, so yes. Da, 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 da. Does the subconscious mind know when a physical infection is present? It will change chemistry in the body. And if that infection is changing the immune response, affecting the GI, that will affect neurotransmitters and therefore mental health. So, yeah, cool. We got there pretty quick. Um, Best pizza spot in town? I don't eat, um, well, I have gluten free pizzas and stuff like that. I'm actually craving pizza like nuts because it's the no sugar challenge and you can't really have any forms of flour. Um, you can do chickpea flour and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm in New Jersey, so there's definitely plenty of choices to choose from in terms of pizza places. But I actually stopped at a pizza place yesterday and I got sausage and broccoli rabe with a ton of garlic and olive oil, and it was so freaking good. It was $12 too. It was technically a side on their menu. It was Antiamo's Pizzeria in Randolph, or it's kind of on the border of Randolph and Mendham. So I'm in Morris County. We talk in counties here. I don't know why, but it's just a thing. What's the healthiest item in Panera? Going there with my girlfriend. Don't want to eat anything unhealthy. So, mm, slim pickings. Because even like, say we're gonna go high protein, mm, what would be on their menu that would be able to support this? I would probably stick with something egg related. I would avoid cheese. I would avoid all the breads. Maybe you can do a bunless sandwich with but the deli meats are gonna be terrible though. I don't know. I don't know if I would go to Panera. What mic is it? This is a Q2U mic. It's called Samson Q2U. Can you see that, Samson? Oh, it's going to be backwards. A Samson Q2U, and I have a second mic actually clipped to the mic, if you didn't notice that. So this is not a part of the other mic. I just got bumpy brain fancy on you guys. Great question, though. Valid question. Um, Educated Doc. Love you guys. Thank you for all the advice. Denise, I think I've seen your name in here. You're very welcome. There is a lot of mental health problems lately. I agree. Um, Exercise, food, etc. can help. Certainly. Exercise more than anything will help. Exercise more, and this is not my opinion. This is medical research coming from it. So I'm just citing here. Exercise works better than SSRIs. So, yeah, why don't we have people exercising? Why don't we have people challenging their body's adaptation to temperature? Things like sauna, cold plunge, avoiding social media, unless it's benefiting you, like we're doing here. Um, because social media will deplete those neurotransmitters. It's designed to give you dopamine hits. That's why the brain rotted people can't stay in the chat here. They have to go and keep going and entertaining, and your attention span, everything gets worse. Um, I think watching social media, also your food. Your food's designed to chemically keep you in a chokehold. Um, yeah, good question, but certainly. And in terms of mental health, this time of year as well, low vitamin D. That will impact you hormonally and from a brain standpoint. I think St. John's is something that is slept on like crazy during the winter because it helps with the brain having a lack of light reception because of the time of year. I'm in the Northeast, so definitely affected by this. Everybody is. So I take St. John's throughout the winter, and I do some Akuna seed in there as well, mainly when doing public speaking and things like this, because short-term memory keeps you focused. You won't lose kind of the track of your thoughts there. But another good question too: how do you feel about holistic care? That is all I do. So obviously I'm a little bit biased here, but I love it. Um, what are SSRIs from Michelle? They're serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They basically, I'm going to word this correctly. They allow for the brain to keep neurotransmitters around that may be deficient. However, those neurotransmitters are created in the GI. So again, back to your food, back to your exercise stuff. Your GI makes your happy hormones for your brain. They make your brain very happy. So we're just headed in that direction. This is why we run GI tests and rebuild that stuff. So Michelle, look at you. We're getting to 1,000 followers here, and then I can put the links in here. You guys can do and see all the cool brands and stuff I have. What is that? I think that was in response to the St. John's. It's an herb, comes from the earth, created by the god, um, god, whatever. Yeah, pretty cool. Herb comes from the earth. It's extracted into a tincture, and then has all of those key constituents in there, and acts kind of like a reuptake inhibitor for serotonin, but also dopamine, also norepinephrine. For the people that are kind of tired too during winter months, I wouldn't take St. John's before bed unless you are. There's certain hormonal pictures for women, but yeah. Enjoy See Me Live. Thank you very much. Everything starts in the gut, almost. Not everything starts in the GI, because you can still have issues with viral issues. You can have metal fillings in your teeth that can play into that. Um, EMF radiation from your phones and everything electronic. That's not gut related. The light reception this time of year, that's not gut related. Mold, That's not gut related. I mean, you get that toxicity out of the system through the GI, through your poop, through your pee, by breathing, by sweating. Um, but yeah, everything boils down to mental, chemical, and physical stressors that create an inflammatory response. They lead your body to be deficient or toxic in something, or many things. So that's kind of the approach here. So why did your comment get filtered, my friend Evelina? There we go. Let's unfilter that thing. This is a POTS question. This is a good one. Um, how to heal RA naturally, and then we'll get to the POTS question. You have to, any autoimmune response, you have to find the immune triggers. So food, huge component. And I do like to look for the GI on this one. So I would be probably doing a small piece of blood work and then looking at foods that you could be allergic to, not the life or death IgE allergic reactions, but a different kind. And then obviously the GI to help those immune responses calm down too. Rhamania and ashwagandha are probably two things that you could start on that help with T cell regulation and T1 and 2 helper cell signaling, which is part of that autoimmune picture. POTS, very similar thing, which great segue into that. POTS, I have a new fixation on EMF radiation. I've seen a lot of POTS patients. I've seen way too many teenage girls come in that are on calcium channel blockers, and that is to obviously help with heart palpitations. But microwave radiation, 5G, Wi Fi, even dirty electricity, all of that keeps calcium channels wide open, which guess what is your opposing to the calcium within those channels inside all your cells? Magnesium. The heart is a muscle. If you constantly have calcium channels open, why do you think you get put on a calcium channel blocker? It's to help you not have heart palpitations all the time. But does it fix the problem? Eh, you know, not really my place to say. I'm just saying that there is the largest invisible stressor that I've seen affect POTS patients more than anything is your phone throwing off 5G radiation, which um, I'm about to be certified in this, so I will be able to get you guys the EMF bands, the cell phone chips, room harmonizers, all this cool stuff just made from natural materials that come from the earth that inhibit that calcium channel activation. But even the agglutination of your blood cells, too, which is basically clumping cells together, which is what happens when you have an immune response. And POTS being autoimmune, it's like, wow, this just makes so much sense. Um, so that's kind of my newest obsession and fantastic results. I would say 75% of the time, that is one of the only things I do is help guide that patient on remediating EMF radiation from their home and their phone and their work, and everything changes. Actually, you can get a Herxheimer reaction, which is basically a detox reaction from starting to block some of that stuff. So, really, really, really cool. I'm glad you asked that POTS question. Last night I ate, yeah, way too much food. Don't go to McDonald's. Okay. Okay. Again with the broken nose. I did not fight MMA professionally. I wrestled and did jiu-jitsu for most of my life. That's why my nose is a little jacked up. You guys are obsessed with my nose. And I think it's because it's the YouTube camera that I'm like on this angle. The TikTok one is head on. The YouTube one zooms in for some reason, so I push it back a little bit. But hopefully that satisfies the nose question that you guys have. I think it's kind of funny, but I knew you were Italian before I saw the name. You were right. What the? What the? Okay, blah, blah, blah. Do we have any health questions? This is a health question and answer. Sorry, TikTok. I'm tending to the YouTubers. Um, Edgar, much love, brother. What are you guys saying? Okay, I'm just gonna ignore the BS commentary. It has no place here. This is a health Q&A. I'm trying to help you guys out. Frick. All right. TikTok has fantastic questions basically every day. So until you guys get your game up, I'm just gonna ignore the BS ones. Like, look at this. Sexual comments. It's like, what is going on here? Anyways. Okay. Boo. Pot. Handled that one. I've had problems since my gallbladder was removed. I can't digest anything. Yeah, you're going to bloat after meals. You're going to have to run to the bathroom after you have a few chips and salsa. It's not fun. Anal leakage is a thing too. And you need to get in things that are going to help you emulsify your fats before every single meal now for the rest of your life. I don't know why the surgeon isn't telling you guys this when gallbladder surgery is, I think it's still the number one surgery in the US. You need to take something called gallbladder complex. That's what ours is called. It's basically beetroot powder, ox bile in there, and basically bile salts that help you emulsify fats so that you can secrete bile in the proper amounts because you lost a sensory organ there. That was basically storage and release of bile. Your liver's still creating it, which is great. It's just now you need help with signaling. So I would maybe want to hop on a complimentary call with you, walk you through a couple food steps that you could do. Definitely the gallbladder complex there as well. Um, and then some people, if you're ordering through thewellnessway.com and you're only getting like one thing, I would order it through me because I can get you the cheapest shipping. I've had shipping be as low as like $3. So I have this fancy new shipping printer thing and I'm kind of obsessed with it. So I just want to send packages for some reason. But, anyways, let me know. Send me a message. I can't put the link in the bio because we got to get it to 1,000 followers. So if you're here, frickin' click her up. Let's get there. How do you bring down information in your organs? Inflammation. Sorry. Um, typo there. It's finding the inflammatory stressors because we're playing a guessing game if we're not figuring out where those are actually coming from. I mean, if you're looking for supplementation, obviously your medicinal mushrooms are great. I like shaga. I like reishi. I like something like albizia, turmeric. I like cod liver oil. I like a lot of things. But there's obviously physical things you could do. It's figuring out why you are inflamed. And that the every disease process starts with inflammation. So that is what I focus on completely. It's nervous and immune systems that are primary and can change hormonal, cardiac, and all the other systems. So you do have to start with the immune and nervous systems and look for the stressors affecting there. So that's how you reverse engineer this stuff. What causes high blood pressure? Oh my goodness, a ton. That depends on the person, really. I mean, I would say, and sorry, I'm just rambling here. So, or I was rambling before, so the chats are building up. But I'll get to your questions. Don't you worry. Holy smokes, it's almost been an hour. All right, I'll speed her up. Causes high blood pressure, different forms of stressors. Smashing your toe on the coffee table can cause high blood pressure. So it depends. It can be mental, chemical, physical stressors, opportunistic infections, deficiencies, so many things. I believe that all doctors say said that I have it causes POTS, different immune reactants. I see opportunistic infections and the EMF radiation being the top two, and really mold being a key constituent there too. I have a question. Ask away. How do you feel about red light therapy? It is great. Helps you get out of a sympathetic tone, so will help you get into rest and digest that calming parasympathetic response that will come over your body. Also, the heat there too, and a deeper layer of heat that will get to you that will impact mitochondria because of the red light itself, um, but also with detoxification of things that your body's trying to get rid of. So that'll help too. Is that the only thing that you should be doing? No. I would want to run foods on you, and I would probably want to talk to you first and figure out what we need to run lab wise. But labs are the key to figuring out the answers to the problems. That goes for everybody. Anything I can do for Ehlers-Danlos, hypermobility, and pain. Copper excess within the body. I would wonder if you had a copper IUD at any point or still do, because that's probably the problem. If you're taking a bunch of zinc, stop doing that. It should come from oyster meat. Um, we got a med question. I am not your guy in terms of med questions. All holistic health here. Um, anyways, more sexual questions coming from YouTube. It's freaking gross. This is a health question and answer. Did you not see the title when you scrolled in here? Eating a lot can create high blood pressure. Eating meat causes high blood pressure. That's not true. What about fasting? How long? As a female, I'd be very, very, very cautious with this, especially a female with autoimmunity. Um, I would not recommend that for you. I would do time restrictive eating to where you're having greater, higher protein amounts of meals in the morning and a late lunch and skipping dinner if you want to do um, intermittent fasting, which is not fasting. Fasting is over 24 hours. That's why I'm harping on that term. But you'll deplete things like crazy. Caitlin, heart flutters, black curtain vision, night sweats, rashes, swelling, cold sweats, twitches. This is a mold question here. Totally. And I know Caitlin has popped in here before. Caitlin, also, I want to help you out with remediating EMF radiation from your phone because that can be a huge irritant for mold. They actually did this experiment with mold in petri dishes, bread. They even did putting a loaf of bread on a Wi-Fi router and another one on a Wi-Fi router with the EMF remediator chip in there. And it took like 2 days for the one bread to start molding, and it took 2 weeks for the other one. So um, I've even seen this with people's dogs, like have a crazy chihuahua in the house. As soon as you start remediating 5G from the house, and this is not saying that you can't use your devices. I'm using them right now. It's just you need cell phone chips to put in there, EMF bands that look like Apple Watches, so they can be kind of stylish too. Um, and it speeds up the growth of mold by like 1,000 times. So that's probably a huge thing that you haven't thought of so far. The only thing I feel sometimes is lightheadedness, a bit of tachycardia. Yeah, I think you can have deficiencies in magnesium or potassium. It's very hard to measure potassium. Is the volume still out? Can you guys hear me? Give me a one. One's in the chat if you guys can hear me. It's on. Okay, cool. Thanks, Michelle. Okay. Um, it was probably because I messed with something here. Okay, the tachycardia thing. Yeah, potassium citrate, magnesium glycinate, little bits of those, and remediate your 5G, and you'll probably have all that go away. Pretty cool. Ba-ba-bum. Daughter wakes up every afternoon. Hard, she's crying. Any suggestions? There are cranial massages that you can do, basically from the glabella down through the nose and back up, and that helps calm kids down pretty well. All right, let's see if YouTube's got anything worth talking about. Hop on the next slide, blah, blah, blah. Prevent brain damage with fighting. Wow, that's a good question. I mean, supplementation wise, let's start there. Lion's mane, Bacopa, ginkgo, just to help with neuroinflammatory issues there. Brain derived nerve growth factors so that you can create some new neurons. I would say strengthening of the head and neck muscles. So something like a Jawzrsizer that you can strengthen the masseters of the jaw, and an iron neck that you may have heard on Joe Rogan, so that you can help mitigate the concussive forces there. Hydration is going to be huge. but getting punched in the face is still getting punched in the face. So there's going to be jarring there because the brain is within a fluid and you can't stop that really. But mitigation of some effects possibly. Read the damn chats. They're not worth it. These are not health questions. I'm not going to read them if they're freaking not worth reading. Like Mia Khalifa question. Like what, dude? Okay. Are you a doctor? The title of the live is literally Dr. Antonio DC. Um, what are we saying here? Broke my arm in 3 places. I'm very sorry to hear that. Answer me no, not unless it's a health question. Don't care, don't care. I'm about to make YouTubers subscribers only in the chat if you guys don't cut out the freaking BS here. Brittany, thank God. Okay, a Jesus comment. Love it. Bum, 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 bum. Perspective can be big cure. I hate that word cure. Magnesium is amazing. Pomegranates are very cool too. I mean, I'm seeing all the comments here. I think that they're getting taken out because some are inappropriate. Any crash courses to become a doc? Read, study like a madman. Is it true standing away from the microwave while in use helps? I mean, it's the same as holding your phone all day long and scrolling things. So you're actually getting way more from your phone. Same type of radiation. What are we saying here? Sorry, TikTok. I'll get there in a second. I know, I know. We're just trying to keep all the people happy here. What are we saying here? How many hearts does an octopus have? Don't they have 8? Messi or Ronaldo? I don't watch anything aside from jiu-jitsu or UFC. Irritable bowel syndrome. Eating probiotic yogurt for 10 days effed up my stomach for 2 months. Yes, a lot of yogurts are not good in terms of quality and what they actually are made of there. You probably could have a overgrowth of your own bacteria. So like if you try and eat some sauerkraut and you get even worse, then I want you doing some Oregon grape. And I just want to be careful with the answer because some of the things I want to say are very aggressive ways to kill off microbials, and sometimes people take that out of context and then do these for months on end, and that's not good. So go to the channel page in YouTube, and you can schedule a free call with me, and I can walk you through some stuff. No, I'm not a psychiatrist. Okay, what are we saying? Is it true? Okay, so we handled Brittany's question. Thank you, Brittany, for asking a real question here. What's causing infertility in the U.S.? Um, wow, what a jam-packed question that is. BPA, plastic, air quality, food quality, the water that you're drinking, um, the phone that you're holding, and mental stress, being inflamed, not exercising. There's so many. Brittany, that's a freaking great question. Thoughts on sauna? Sauna, beautiful. When using it 4 to 7 times per week, you have a 40% reduction in all cause mortality, which means basically anything that is a chronic illness that could take your own life. There's a 40% reduction there when you're using it 4 to 7 times a week. But you do have to be basically above 180 degrees to do that. Obviously, warm yourself up to that. Go through adaptations. Don't push the limits there, especially when paired with contrast therapy. So colder temperature water, bathing in that, or doing some type of colder therapy there. And when you exercise prior to sauna, the effects of exercise actually are prolonged and you get more out of that. So, beautiful question. I answered the octopus heart question, which I guess is kind of a health question. How do you control liver failure? Oof. Wow. Um, big question. Big question. I would need to know some of the meds you're on here and what the approach is, because that is a fire department moment mixed with holistic stuff, and that is not a simple answer. Ox bile for the gallbladder, beautiful stuff. My liver gives too much bile. Everything goes right through me and fast. That's because you don't have that sensory organ anymore. You do need ox bile, forms of beetroot powder, all those things. Michelle, you are well this way. How'd you know? They say more fiber if you had gallbladder removal. I think that's true all day long, and way more people should be doing that. I ate 10 cheeseburgers yesterday. Is that good? No. um, can you fix a AFib? I thought you said a rib at first. And I was like, yeah, what the heck? A rib? That happens all the time. Actually, that happened to me the other day. My my rib and like right on my shoulder blade there. There's stressors adding up, creating a failure to adapt. That's creating a response like that, leading toward a disease expression. So it's figuring out inflammatory issues that led to that and reverse engineering what is going on. I think mineral deficiencies are a heavy link to it, but that's not the reason why, the sole reason. Are DC and DO the same? No, there's differences there, especially with medication. You remind me of somebody. Sweet potatoes always help me reduce my sugar cravings. Well, it's a complex carb there. Okay. So Logan, I don't care if you're a subscriber. You're about to be removed if you keep that up. Dude, what are we talking about in the YouTube chats, dude? If it's not comedy, like if it's not gonna make me laugh, or if it's not a health question, I do not give a flying bleep about what you're saying, and I'm just gonna scroll past it. And I'm this close to making it a subscribe only chat in the YouTube only. TikTok, love you guys. You guys are great. Which I'm shocked that I've even said that. Like, since when is TikTok great? But it's growing on me. YouTube, come on. Health questions. That's what we're doing here. Blah, 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 blah. Brittany, you're welcome. Thank you very much. What is a good multivitamin for somebody over 50? You want to be doing liver. Liver glandular. You're going to be the most nutrient dense, bioavailable food on the planet. You're going to get all of your cofactors, all of your minerals. And if you want to really be an A student, you're going to do a organ meat with a medicinal mushroom for the rest of your life, like me. Those are two things that I will never, ever, ever stop taking. Oh, we reached the bottom of the chat. Okay, distress bring on menopause prematurely, 100%. I actually, quick story time. I'll try and make this brief because I got a bunch of chats to get to in TikTok. I had a perimenopausal female. She had her gallbladder removed, for context, and her husband got diagnosed with cancer. So that affected her and her children, and obviously her daily life a lot, um, because now she's taking care of her husband that's not doing very well and stuff like that. This was like a year ago. He's actually doing really well now, but at the time, hearing that for the first time, she was postmenopausal. I actually ran blood work and urine hormone testing to look at all 9 of the estrogens and their metabolites, because estrogen's not a hormone. There's 9 of them. If you didn't know that, it's like mind blowing, right? But they were all postmenopausal range. Her cortisol pattern was crazy, maxed out as far as it can go on blood work and within the Dutch test as well. And obviously, working on the adrenals and all those things, she was in her mid 40s. So by the time we got all that corrected, she did super well. Took a few months, and obviously it's never a straight line with healing. We have little dips in the road, as hearing news back, and her husband actually saw Nicole Selesky, who is one of the nurse practitioners that we have, and opened up Eden Healing Oasis. So she only sees cancer cases, um, but she's been with the Wellness Way for like 10 plus years and fantastic stuff. So both of them are doing really well. And stress can lead you toward low hormonal levels there too. But the key was she had the gallbladder removal as well. So she couldn't break down fats, and cholesterol being the backbone of steroid hormones. If you're in your 40s and your hormones are extremely low and your cholesterol is really high, and your doc keeps telling you that you have, an underlying heart issue, that cholesterol is going up to try and create more hormone for you. Okay, like why are we not looking at cholesterol in the way it does and the functions that it has? Look up Google functions of cholesterol. Let me know which one of them you don't want. Um, just to probe some transformational thought with you guys. Okay, can you recommend a medicinal mushroom to us? Yeah, I mean, I would uh I would just do one at a time, and as one runs out, rotate to a new one. So, like for the best ones that I have on my shelf, I would start with reishi. When that bottle runs out, switch to chaga, then turkey tail, um, cordyceps, and rotate through them. That way, you kind of get a glimpse of everything. When you think of mushrooms, think of long term healing. And there's nothing closer to your DNA than mushrooms itself. So you are more of a mushroom than anything else. And Brittany, if you want free shipping, I can get that to you too, my friend. But I was saying 10 cheeseburgers. Is that too much burgers? Actually, that was a different account. I wonder if we got some trolls in here. Anyways, okay, let's see if we can get through these, and then I gotta be on the phone here. Where we off? Okay, there we are. So ideally, what ideal eating hours would you recommend? What is the earliest? What is the latest for women? This isn't just to women exclusively, but your best eating window in the morning is around 8 a.m. You will get the most protein assimilation, which is like if you have a steak made of Legos and you bite and eat the steak up, and all those Legos break apart, and then your body, well, down here, your body's going to break those Legos apart and then put them back together. That's protein assimilation. So putting all that back together. And you'll have more of a thermogenic effect of that food too. So you'll or burn up more calories throughout the day in doing so, and have better insulin regulation too, and burn more calories throughout the night by getting a first meal in high protein, high protein in the morning, somewhere around 8 a.m., and then a late lunch, somewhere around 2 to 3 p.m., and then let that be your last meal, because now you're going to technically be burning from that early afternoon time all the way to the next morning. So, by far best thing. Moved in my dad's 7 weeks ago. Oh my goodness. I was exposed to mold again. Sorry for burping in the microphone. 5 days prior, symptoms got worse. Caitlin, you cannot catch a break. You've been dealing with this for a while. Um, Let me know if there's any way I can help. It's on. I can hear you good. One's in the chat. Just for a letter saying my magnesium is 27. Okay. I cannot see or smell anything. My heart is so irregular. I have nowhere else to go. Anywhere. Um, Potassium citrate and magnesium glycinate. I would start there. And I would get, for one time purchasing that you won't have to buy over and over, I would look into the EMF remediation. Like if you're driving a Tesla, technically you need one for that. So I told my husband to lower his blood pressure to do some meditation and yoga. I love it. And sometimes it's hard to get a guy to do stuff like that. Can chiropractic help with heart fluttering? If it's a sympathetic tone reactivation thing and you can't get out of fight or flight, that is the fastest way. Just have them try and avoid the thoracic region because that's where your sympathetic chain lies. So basically, where your ribs are. But cervical, lumbar, sacral, and nerve root exits are all parasympathetic. So, yes, it can indirectly. Should people not have sugar at all? Technically, everything breaks down into sugar. So your number one fuel source is glucose all of the time. Um, it's when it's in excess. So no hard fast rules on that. How do you feel about vibration plates? I love them. I love them. Lymphatics, bone stimulation for the immune response. Again, parasympathetic activation, drainage for even the eustachian tube, things like that. Just if you have an IUD, do not use one. Is oatmeal good for your liver? No. Really high in sugar there. The glycemic index on oats are higher than Coca Cola. Can you use sauna if you have high blood pressure? Yes, I do want you hydrating a lot though, and I want you starting low and slow. So start, low 100s in terms of Fahrenheit, then work up to 120, work up to 130, things like that. Hydrate like a madman or mad girl. But yeah, for the vasodilation effect and the drop in blood pressure, I would pair the sauna with more frequent sessions per week. You don't need to do 7 days a week, but also Neo 40, nitric oxide 40. How do you get cancer? Immunosuppression and chronic inflammatory issues that deplete the immune response. Symptoms of having lupus. I just looked those up. Um, what kind of doctor are you? It's in the title. Hello. Sorry, I'm trying to go fast. I have a call coming up. I have MCAS with angioedema. How do I do it without steroids? Hi, how are you? How are you? Mast cell activation syndrome. We need to find out why the mast cells are activating. That is from inflammatory triggers. Food is a huge reason. I think mold is another huge reason. The GI, EMF radiation, as I've gone off on today. All great reasons. Let me know. Send me a message. We can get you going there and figure out why. Symptoms of having lupus. Google it. We have a mushroom farm near me. Oh my goodness. Michelle, if you're in New Jersey, let me know. I want to go there. I'd love to talk to them. Thoughts on diet/zero soda? I like zero soda. If you are a soda fanatic and you can't seem to quit, I would do something like Zevia or Olipop. Sorry, I just kicked over my water. Zevia or Olipop because they don't have any sugar in there and they mimic the taste of those sodas without anything toxic in there. Where can you get magnesium sulfate? Citrate is the one I mentioned. I can order that for you, or I don't know. I would have to research other companies. Oh, my bad. I thought I was reading the comments from the other platform. I was. Bum, 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 bum. Do you have to have a lot of water when doing the vibration plate? That's a good question. I never thought of that question, and let me get back to you on that. I will message you. Solve all health issues. Fasting every day for 20 hours. For men, I'm okay with this. For females, let's not do that. Why go live on TikTok if you're going to ignore the comments? As we cover them. I was reading YouTube ones. Okay, that's stupid. Growing pain. Only thing that helps, Benadryl cream. I think MCAS related. Angioedema. They actually made Benadryl from Albizia bark. So why not go back to the origins of things? But yeah, for Lizzie, send me a message because I'm about to hop off here and we could do a free phone call and figure things out. I want to know where you're at, what labs you've had, figure out why you're having this, and then go from there. Okay, I have to go, literally, like 60 seconds here. So, as always, thank you guys for hanging out. Stay healthy, stay free. We'll be back tomorrow. Jolly good show. If you are trying to have a complimentary call or jump right to a new patient appointment on YouTube, you can do that through the bio. On Cheek Shock, you got to send me a message. We can still coordinate all this stuff that way. But thanks for hanging out. The questions today were fantastic. I'm going to try and do another live tonight um, before I leave here. So probably 7, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Look out for that. Holy crap, we almost went an hour 30. So good stuff. I got to charge up these phones now. Um, but fantastic. Don't hesitate to reach out, guys. I'm here to help you. Give away value like crazy. Happy Tuesday. See you guys soon.